one constantly seeking validation. Validation is a natural human need, but when it becomes a constant craving, it turns into a form of self-destruction. A foolish woman often measures her worth through the eyes of others, relying on external approval to feel good about herself. She constantly asks, do I look good? Am I doing well? Am I enough? But the problem with external validation is that it is unpredictable, fleeting and never truly satisfying. The more she chases it, the more she becomes dependent on the opinions of others, losing her sense of self in the process. From a young age, many women are conditioned to seek approval. Society teaches them that their beauty, their likability and their success are determined by how others perceive them. A woman who internalizes this belief spends her energy trying to please everyone, her family, her friends, her colleagues, and even strangers on social media. She becomes afraid of disapproval and rejection, often sacrificing her true desires just to fit into an idealized image of what a perfect woman should be. This need for validation seeps into every aspect of her life. In relationships, she becomes emotionally dependent on her partner's affection and attention. If he praises her, she feels loved. If he ignores her, she feels worthless. In friendships, she overextends herself, always trying to be agreeable and available, fearing that saying no might make her less likable. Even in her career, she may avoid taking risks or voicing her opinions because she fears criticism. Instead of developing confidence from within, she waits for others to grant it to her. Social media has amplified this validation-seeking behavior to an extreme. A foolish woman may spend hours curating the perfect post, obsessing over likes, comments and shares. If she receives praise, she feels momentarily happy. If she gets no response, she spirals into self-doubt. Her emotions rise and fall based on the attention she receives online. This constant need for digital approval creates anxiety, insecurity and an inability to find peace within herself. The greatest danger of relying on external validation is that it makes a woman easy to manipulate. When she seeks approval from others, she gives them the power to control her emotions and decisions. She might stay in toxic relationships because she fears being alone. She might agree to things she does not want just to avoid disappointing others. She becomes trapped in a cycle where she is not living for herself but performing for an audience, hoping to receive applause. A foolish woman also struggles with criticism because her self-worth is built on the shaky foundation of others' opinions. The moment someone disapproves of her or points out a flaw, she feels deeply wounded. Instead of seeing feedback as a tool for growth, she takes it personally, feeling attacked or unworthy. This makes her fragile and defensive, preventing her from evolving into a stronger and wiser person. The irony is that the more a woman chases external validation, the more dissatisfied she becomes. No amount of praise will ever be enough if she does not believe in herself first. The world is inconsistent. People's opinions change, trends evolve, and admiration fades. If her confidence is tied to these external factors, she will always feel unstable, constantly needing more to fill the void. True self-worth comes from within. It is built by knowing who you are, embracing your strengths and flaws, and not allowing external voices to dictate your value. A wise woman understands that validation from others can be pleasant, but it is not essential. She does not live for applause, she lives for authenticity. To the drama over reality, a foolish woman thrives on unnecessary drama, often exaggerating small issues and turning them into major crises. Instead of approaching life with clarity and reason, she allows her emotions to take complete control, reacting impulsively rather than responding wisely. For her, life is not about handling situations efficiently. It is about creating a spectacle, ensuring that she remains the center of attention. Whether it's a minor inconvenience or a misunderstanding, she magnifies it, feeding on the chaos rather than seeking solutions. This love for drama often stems from a deep inner restlessness. When there is peace, she feels uneasy, as if something is missing. Instead of appreciating calmness, she unconsciously seeks conflict or tension. She might pick fights over trivial matters, interpret neutral situations as personal attacks, or constantly find fault in others. This behavior is not always deliberate. Sometimes it is simply a habit formed over years of emotional instability and unawareness. A foolish woman tends to interpret everything in extreme. If someone is late to meet her, she assumes they do not respect her. If a friend does not reply to a message immediately, she believes they are ignoring her. Instead of considering logical reasons, she jumps to the worst conclusions, fueling her own distress. Her world is a place of exaggerated highs and lows, where everything is either wonderful or disastrous, leaving little room for balance or perspective. In relationships, this tendency for drama can be particularly destructive. A foolish woman creates unnecessary emotional turbulence, testing her partner's patience with baseless accusations, mood swings, and unpredictable reactions. Instead of communicating openly, she expects her partner to read her mind and punishes him when he fails to do so. She enjoys playing the victim, making her problems seem bigger than they are, expecting constant reassurance and attention. This behavior leads to exhaustion, pushing away even those who genuinely care about her. Social media has made this issue even worse. A foolish woman may air her personal conflicts online, indirectly attacking people through vague posts or exaggerated emotional outbursts. She might create problems just for the sake of seeking sympathy and validation, whether it's an over-dramatic caption, a teary-eyed selfie, or a long rant about how she has been betrayed. Her need for an audience fuels her behavior. Instead of handling issues privately and maturely, she invites the world into her emotional storms, turning her life into a never-ending soap opera. One of the biggest problems with drama-seeking behavior is that it drains energy and mental peace. Instead of using her time and effort to grow, learn, or achieve something meaningful, a foolish woman wastes it on arguments, misunderstandings, and emotional outbursts. The more she indulges in unnecessary drama, the more chaotic her life becomes. What she does not realize is that peace is a choice, and she is the one choosing to disturb it. This obsession with drama also prevents her from taking responsibility for her own actions. When something goes wrong, she always blames others, their words, their actions, their insensitivity. She really stops to reflect on whether she contributed to the problem. A wise woman, in contrast, seeks to understand before reacting, but a foolish woman is quick to lash out, often making situations worse than they need to be. Ultimately, a woman caught up in unnecessary drama lives in a cycle of emotional exhaustion, broken relationships, and endless dissatisfaction. The constant turmoil she creates not only affects her own well-being, but also pushes away people who value peace and maturity. Instead of navigating life with wisdom and balance, she lets emotions dictate her choices, leaving her trapped in a never-ending loop of conflict and chaos. 3, gossiping instead of growing. A foolish woman wastes her time talking about other people instead of focusing on her own personal growth. She finds pleasure in discussing who did what, who failed, who succeeded, and who is facing problems. Instead of using her energy to develop skills, gain knowledge, or improve her life, she indulges in the temporary thrill of gossip. This behavior might make her feel important or included in social circles, but in reality, it only highlights her lack of depth and purpose. Gossiping often stems from insecurity and boredom. When a woman does not have meaningful goals or aspirations, she fills the emptiness with other people's story. She becomes obsessed with the lives of others because she has not cultivated her own. If she were truly focused on her dreams, passions, and self-improvement, she would not have time to entertain unnecessary conversations about people who do not even impact her life. Gossip is a distraction from one's own shortcomings. A foolish woman does not just listen to gossip, she spreads it. She takes pleasure in carrying information from one person to another, often exaggerating details to make the story more dramatic. She does not think about the consequences of her words, she only cares about the excitement of sharing secrets. But what she does not realize is that the same people who listen to her gossip today will gossip about her tomorrow. Trust is fragile. And a woman known for gossiping is rarely trusted by anyone. Gossip creates negativity, not just for others, but also for the one engaging in it. A woman who constantly talks about others trains her mind to focus on faults, scandals, and failures. This habit turns her thoughts toxic, making her see the world in a negative light. Instead of appreciating people's strengths or learning from their success, she looks for their mistakes and misfortune. A foolish woman may also use gossip as a tool for social climbing. She believes that by sharing exclusive information or criticizing others, she will gain influence or respect. However, true respect is never built on negativity. People may listen to a gossip monger for entertainment, but they rarely admire or trust her. A wise woman, on the other hand, understands that real power comes from intelligence, kindness, and integrity, not from spreading rumors. Another danger of gossip is that it damages relationships. A woman who engages in gossiping often finds herself surrounded by temporary friends, people who enjoy the drama but have no real loyalty. The moment she faces a challenge in life, these same people disappear because their connection was never built on anything meaningful. She might not realize it at first, but over time she will find herself isolated, distrusted, and unfulfilled. Gossiping is a habit that prevents deep and meaningful conversations. Instead of discussing ideas, personal growth, or valuable knowledge, a foolish woman chooses to talk about other people's private affairs. She misses opportunities to learn, to inspire, and to evolve. A wise woman knows that time is precious, and instead of using it to discuss others, she uses it to develop herself. Growth requires focus, and a mind filled with gossip has no space for wisdom. A woman who is truly confident and self-assured does not need gossip to feel important. She builds her life in such a way that she does not seek entertainment in the struggles or scandals of others. Instead of tearing people down, she lifts them up. Instead of wasting time on pointless chatter, she invests in her own self-improvement. A foolish woman prioritizes superficial aspects of life over true self-improvement. She is more concerned with how she looks rather than how she thinks, how others perceive her rather than how she perceives herself. Instead of developing her intelligence, emotional maturity, and skills, she focuses on temporary surface-level validation. She may spend hours perfecting her appearance, following trends, or impressing people socially, yet she ignores the real work of becoming a wiser, stronger, and more capable individual. This neglect of personal growth often stems from a fear of discomfort. Growth requires effort. It means reading, learning, practicing discipline, and facing challenges. A foolish woman prefers an easier path, one that does not demand patience. She avoids intellectual conversations because they seem boring. She refuses to step out of her comfort zone because it feels uncomfortable. And she resists personal transformation because it requires honest self-reflection. Instead of evolving, she chooses to remain stagnant, mistaking convenience for happiness. Education and knowledge are powerful tools, but a foolish woman does not invest in them. She believes that once she finishes school, she no longer needs to learn. She does not read books, explore new ideas, or expand her understanding of the world. Her conversations revolve around gossip, entertainment, and trivial matters, while real knowledge remains out of reach. She may even dismiss learning as unnecessary, failing to see that ignorance is a weakness, not a luxury. Neglecting personal growth affects every area of life. In relationships, a woman who does not develop emotional intelligence will struggle with communication, patience, and understanding. She may enter relationships for the wrong reasons, seeking validation rather than genuine connection. In her career, a lack of ambition and self-discipline will keep her in the same place, while others move forward. When life presents difficulties, she will lack the mental strength to handle them wisely. Without growth, she remains unprepared for the challenges of life. A foolish woman also avoids self-reflection because it forces her to confront her flaws. Instead of asking herself, am I improving? Am I making wise choices? Am I becoming a better person? She distracts herself with entertainment, social media, or other people's lives. She does not take responsibility for her mistakes and continues repeating them. Growth is impossible without self-awareness, and without self-awareness, she remains trapped in patterns of failure. Another issue is that a woman who neglects her growth becomes dependent on others for fulfillment. Because she has not cultivated her own mind, skills and purpose, she expects others, whether a partner, family or friends, to provide her with happiness and direction. This dependence leads to disappointment because no one else can compensate for personal emptiness. A wise woman, on the other hand, builds herself so that she can stand strong on her own. True beauty is not just in appearance, but in depth of character, wisdom and intelligence. A woman who neglects her personal growth may look attractive on the outside, but if she has no substance within, people will eventually lose interest in her. Physical beauty fades, but a sharp mind, a kind heart and a strong spirit last a lifetime. A foolish woman fails to realize that investing in herself, her knowledge, wisdom and emotional strength is the greatest investment she can make. The difference between a foolish woman and a wise woman is not in their circumstances, but in their choices. One chooses to remain the same, avoiding the effort it takes to grow. The other chooses to evolve, even when it is difficult. Growth is not something that happens by accident, it is something that must be actively pursued. A woman who ignores these truths remains stuck, watching life pass her by while others rise above. 5. Holding on to toxicity. A foolish woman clings to toxic relationships, habits and environments even when she knows they are harmful to her well-being. Instead of walking away from situations that drain her energy, she convinces herself that she must endure. Whether it is a destructive relationship, a negative friendship or a harmful habit, she holds on out of fear, familiarity or misplaced loyalty. This inability to let go keeps her stuck in a cycle of pain and stagnation, preventing her from experiencing true happiness and growth. One of the biggest reasons a foolish woman holds on to toxic relationships is her fear of being alone. She would rather be in a damaging situation than face solitude. Even if she is constantly disrespected, ignored, or emotionally abused, she convinces herself that having someone, anyone, is better than having no one at all. Instead of realizing that being alone can be an opportunity for self-discovery and strength, she remains in relationships that drain her spirit, hoping that things will magically change. A foolish woman also mistakes suffering for love. She believes that enduring pain, tolerating mistreatment, and constantly forgiving without accountability are signs of deep affection. If a partner cheats, lies, or disrespects her, she rationalizes their behavior with excuses. He will change, it was my fault, or love means never giving up. But love should never come at the cost of self-respect. A wise woman understands that real love uplifts, while a foolish woman allows herself to be broken in the name of love. Toxicity is not limited to romantic relationships. A foolish woman also holds on to negative friendships that add no value to her life. She surrounds herself with people who gossip, discourage her ambitions, or manipulate her emotions. Instead of seeking uplifting and inspiring relationships, she remains in circles that fuel drama and negativity. She may fear cutting ties because she does not want to seem rude, but in reality, staying connected to toxic people is far worse than distancing oneself from them. Beyond relationships, a foolish woman holds on to toxic habits that keep her trapped in a cycle of self-destruction. Whether it is procrastination, overspending, unhealthy eating, or any other harmful behavior, she refuses to break free from patterns that harm her. She often justifies her habits with excuses like, "This is just who I am," or "I'll change later." But later never comes. And her unwillingness to confront these issues prevents her from evolving into a better version of herself. Another reason she clings to toxicity is that she confuses familiarity with security. A foolish woman finds comfort in what she knows. Even if it is painful, she fears the unknown more than she fears suffering. She would rather stay in a toxic environment because it feels predictable rather than take a leap into something new. This fear of change keeps her trapped, unable to embrace new opportunities, relationships, or personal transformations that could lead her to a healthier, happier life. Holding on to toxicity also damages her self-esteem over time. The longer she stays in toxic situations, the more she begins to believe that she deserves them. She convinces herself that she is not worthy of better, that she is too weak to leave, or that she cannot survive without certain people or habits. This mindset creates a prison of self-doubt, making it even harder to break free. The truth is, every moment she spends in toxicity is a moment stolen from her potential to grow, heal, and thrive. The longer a foolish woman holds on to toxic things, the more she loses herself. She forgets who she truly is, what she deserves, and what she is capable of. Instead of taking control of her life, she allows negativity to control her. Toxicity does not just exist in the people around her, it exists in the choices she makes, the thoughts she entertains, and the fears she refuses to overcome. A wise woman understands that letting go is not a sign of weakness, but a step toward true strength and freedom. 6. Prioritizing pleasure over purpose. A foolish woman is driven by momentary pleasures rather than long-term purpose. She chases instant gratification, whether through entertainment, material possessions, or temporary relationships, without considering the future consequences of her actions. Instead of focusing on building a meaningful life, she indulges in whatever feels good in the moment, often at the cost of her growth, stability, and success. Her obsession with pleasure keeps her distracted, preventing her from achieving anything truly valuable. One of the biggest ways this manifests is through laziness and procrastination. A foolish woman would rather spend hours scrolling through social media, binge-watching TV shows, or engaging in gossip than investing time in personal development. She puts off important tasks because they require effort, discipline, and patience. Instead of learning a new skill, improving her career, or working toward a goal, she chooses temporary distractions that provide short-lived enjoyment but leave her feeling unfulfilled in the long run. This tendency to prioritize pleasure over purpose is also evident in how she spends money. A foolish woman often lives beyond her means, buying expensive clothes, unnecessary luxuries, or the latest trends, just to impress others. She values appearances over financial security, spending impulsively rather than saving or investing wisely. When financial struggles arise, she blames circumstances instead of recognizing that her own choices have led her there. A wise woman, in contrast, understands the importance of financial discipline and plans for her future, instead of wasting money on fleeting desires. Her relationships also suffer because of this mindset. A foolish woman may enter relationships purely for excitement, physical attraction, or material benefits, rather than seeking deep emotional connections or shared values. She might prioritize a man who entertains her over one who respects and supports her. This leads to unstable relationships that eventually fall apart, leaving her feeling empty. Because she seeks pleasure over purpose, she struggles to build lasting bonds that are rooted in trust, understanding, and true partnership. Health is another area where this issue becomes apparent. A foolish woman often neglects her physical and mental well-being, indulging in unhealthy foods, avoiding exercise, and neglecting rest. She might prioritize the temporary joy of junk food over the long-term benefits of a healthy diet, or choose late-night partying over the self-care her body truly needs. Over time, these habits catch up with her, affecting not just her appearance, but also her energy, mood, and overall quality of life. Even in decision-making, she prefers what is easy over what is right. A foolish woman avoids challenges that require effort and responsibility. She stays in her comfort zone, choosing the path of least resistance rather than pushing herself to grow. Whether it is a job, a relationship, or a personal goal, she picks whatever seems fun and effortless in the moment, not realizing that true success comes from persistence, struggle, and sacrifice. This mindset keeps her from reaching her full potential. Social validation also plays a huge role in her choices. A foolish woman seeks pleasure in being admired, praised, or envied by others. She might post pictures for attention, seek approval from strangers, or chase trends just to feel included. But external validation is temporary. A wise woman, on the other hand, builds a life based on her own values, not on what society expects from her. She understands that true happiness comes from purpose, not from fleeting moments of admiration. Ultimately, prioritizing pleasure over purpose leaves a foolish woman feeling lost, unfulfilled and directionless. She may experience brief moments of excitement, but deep inside she will always sense a void, a longing for something deeper, something more meaningful. She may not realize it, but every wasted opportunity, every ignored responsibility, and every impulsive decision is slowly shaping a future filled with regret rather than achievement.